So what does it really take to win? I'm not just talking about winning on a battlefield, but in the fight for a legacy, for survival, or even for just mastering yourself. It's a question that people have been asking forever, and today, we're going to look for an answer in the lives of three of history's most brilliant and maybe unexpected strategic minds.
So, yeah, what is the secret? Is it about having the perfect sword technique, the political savvy of a queen, or the massive, world-changing vision of an empire builder? Well, we're going to find out by looking at strategy on three totally different scales. In our guides for this, wow, they could not be more different. We've got a legendary samurai who believed victory starts from inside you. We have a queen who proved that being practical is its own kind of weapon. And we've got a conqueror who literally built his legacy out of stone and steel. Each one of them absolutely mastered the art of winning, but in their own unique way.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start small, with mastering the self. Then we'll zoom out to what it takes to secure a whole kingdom. And finally, we'll go big, building an entire empire. The whole point is to see if there's one single powerful idea that connects them all.
First up, the master of one-on-one combat, Miyamoto Musashi. This guy is a legend. He was a Japanese swordsman, and by his own count, he was undefeated in over 60 duels. But here's the thing about Musashi. For him, winning wasn't just about how you hold a sword. It was a complete way of life.
Musashi called his philosophy the way of strategy, and he basically laughed at people who thought it was just about sword fencing. For him, the real way was about mastering the principles behind the victory, things like timing, focus, and balance. He believed if you understood those, you could apply them to anything, from a fight to the death to, well, your entire life.
In his famous ground book, he lays out these 9 core principles, and what's so wild is that they're not really about fighting at all. They're about rewiring your brain for success. Look at number 3. Become acquainted with every art. That's about seeing the world from different angles. Or number 9. Do nothing which is of no use. That's just ruthless efficiency. This isn't a combat manual. It's a blueprint for mastering yourself long before you ever face an enemy.
And this one quote, it just nails his whole philosophy. From one thing, know 10,000 things. It means if you master the deep principles of strategy, you can win in any situation. It's the ultimate transferable skill. But, okay, how does this philosophy of self-mastery scale up when you've got an entire kingdom on the line?
So now we're scaling up from one person to a whole kingdom, with Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi. In India, she is remembered as this incredibly fierce warrior queen, a nationalist hero who fought bravely against the British. But when you actually dig into the historical record, a different and honestly a more strategically fascinating story starts to unfold.
So the myth paints her as this hardcore patriot, a symbol of resistance from day one. But the reality, which we get from her own letters, shows a super shrewd and practical ruler. She hired an Australian lawyer to fight her case. She wrote to the British Governor-General not with defiance, but by reminding him of her family's long history of loyalty to the British. One historian even points out that for a while she was, quote, undecided whether she would fight against the British or make alliance with them. See, her number one goal wasn't some abstract idea of patriotism, it was the real-world survival of her kingdom.
And you can actually see her strategy evolving on this timeline. It wasn't static, it was adaptive. She started out by trying to work inside the British system, using their own laws against them. When that didn't work and the huge Indian Rebellion of 1857 broke out, she played this careful game of neutrality. It was only when every other possible option was gone that she finally took up arms. So the key here is that her becoming a rebel was a strategic evolution, not something she was dead set on from the start. And now we get to the biggest scale of all, the strategy of empire with the 14th century conqueror Timur, who you might also know as Tamerlane. This guy's genius wasn't just about winning battles, it was about building a legacy so magnificent it would echo for centuries.
Timur had this one absolutely breathtaking vision. He wanted to take his capital city, Samarkand, and turn it from just another trading post into the undisputed center of the world. A symbol of power, of intellect, of culture that would leave everyone who saw it completely stunned. This was never just about conquering land, it was about shaping civilization itself.
And he didn't just dream it, he built it. We're talking about the Bibi Khana Mosque, which was one of the largest in the entire Islamic world, the Gur-e-Mir, his own jaw-dropping mausoleum, the Registan, a public square so grand it still takes your breath away today. These weren't just buildings, okay? They were statements. They were monuments to his absolute dominance.
So you have to be wondering, how did he pull this off?
Well, this is where the ruthless pragmatism of his strategy really shows. He didn't just conquer cities, he harvested them. After every single conquest, he would forcibly move the greatest artists, the best architects, the most brilliant scholars, and bring them all back to Samarkand. He literally weaponized human talent, taking the best minds from the old world to build his new one.
Okay, so we've got the duelist, the queen, and the emperor. 3 completely different worlds, 3 totally different scales of conflict. So what's the connection? What's the common thread that ties their winning strategies together?
Well, when you lay their strategies out side by side like this, a pattern really starts to show. Musashi's strategy was all internal. It was a discipline of the mind. Lakshmi Bai's was external and adaptive. She was reacting to political threats to survive. And Timur's was just pure vision, imposing his will on the world to build something eternal. 3 different scales, 3 different approaches, but each one was perfectly designed for their ultimate goal.
So here it is. This is the real connection. It's not just about focus. It's a kind of ruthless clarity about the objective. Musashi stripped away everything useless to master himself. Lakshmi Bai put aside ideology to save her kingdom. Timur harvested the world's greatest minds to build his capital. They didn't let myth or honor or tradition get in the way of the one thing they knew they had to achieve. That was their art of winning.
Which, of course, brings it all back to you. When you face your own high-stakes challenges, what's your strategy? Are you the duelist, totally focused on perfecting yourself? Are you the queen, adapting and being pragmatic just to survive? Or are you the empire builder, executing some grand vision? Because it seems like the real art of winning is knowing which one you need to be.